I'm a little late, like usually, but today especially, it's really cold. Had to make sure everything is warm, house is warm. So yeah, let's get something done here. I brought me some from the some containers from the heater, where we have an induced germination, and I want to look through them, just making sure that everything's right. Just see that there's a hole from the oven, like the heat from the oven has melted the bag. So it's good that we saw it. That's pretty wild. So we have to replace that. Let me show you. But the seedlings look great. It's just that there was a hole in it. Check this out. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah, just from the heat of the oven. Maybe a little piece of ash. Seedlings look all right. Not great, but also not bad. Not good, not terrible. So we will put something, a new one around it to make sure that there's no fungus gnats, no nothing like that. We don't like that. Okay. So now this will go to the plant lamp, giving it a few months of fake sunlight. That will probably do nice. Okay, next one. Yeah, everything looking good. Soil maybe a little bit too dry. So let me water a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Not much, just a little. Carefully. Because these are tiny, fragile seedlings. Okay. Welcome to the live stream, guys. Just had to replace one of the plastic bags at the oven because the plastic had melted. So yeah, the heat from the oven is great for inducing germination, but it can also get too much for the bag and the seedlings. Okay, so this one here, fungus gnat flew away. That is terrible. But the seedlings look okay. The seedlings don't seem to be affected, so we'll see how it goes. I have ordered new soil, and hopefully that new soil will be free of contaminants and that kind of stuff. Fungus gnats. It's really not something you want to have in the soil. Here's a seedling, and it's just one seedling. A Lobivia seedling from the cross Born to be Wild. Something else. Yeah, unfortunately, just one seedling. I might have waited too long to sow these out. I feel like some of the Lobivia seeds, they drop the viability very fast. But maybe we will get some more seedlings in the next couple months or so. We'll see. Okay, next one. Yeah, 4 somewhat healthy seedlings and 1 tiny that doesn't seem to, I'm not sure, I don't think it will make it, but I will give it a chance. I will turn it around, put the roots a little bit, cover them with soil, because I feel like that one lost track with the ground. Sometimes they fall over, or when a seed corn germinates, it does it in a weird angle, and the seedling doesn't have contact with the soil, and that is something that you should correct if you have the chance. If if you see it, doesn't take much work to reposition the tiny seedlings that you feel might not make it, So yeah. These will also go under the lamp. I only have a few seedlings in there, but it's okay for me. That's pretty much the minimum. Like 5-6 seedlings should definitely be there before I. This is also empty. Before I move them to the lamp, I try to keep them under the heat, under the heat source for as long as possible. But yeah, let me see what we have here. Okay. Yeah, these look great. Good looking seedlings. I like that. Good, a good kind of situation to get them through the year, to get them through the next difficult months that are coming. Always good when you can see that the seedlings are taking off. It tells you a little bit about that they might handle a little bit of stress here and there. Okay, so now I want to clean some seeds. I also brought soil to sow out, but first I want to maybe clean a few more of these hybrids, special hybrids with cool flowers, beautiful flowers. And yeah, I want to start sowing out a little bit more. Got to sow out my own stuff because otherwise nobody might might see it. You never know what happens when you give away seeds. You might never hear from that cross again. You might see it on the internet by people who kind of forgot that you are the breeder. I mean, it often isn't even intentional. It just happens, you know. So I try to raise my own stuff too. And it's difficult with all the good seeds that are out there. I'm constantly seeing cool seeds everywhere. Cool hybrid seeds, cactus hybrid seeds. And even like, I mean, I'm not really into botanicals anymore, like botanical species. But there are a few that are really good, that are great to own. Interesting species with big flowers, species that haven't been used so widely in cactus breeding lately. You know, a lot of it right now is Cantora. Cantora is something like that famous hybrid right now. But there are so many cacti that haven't been widely used yet. So there's a lot of potential where I would even sow out botanical species. Some of the rarer ones, some really good plants for hybrid breeding that have barely been used. Okay, so this is a cross with Wörlitz Cantora Gelb, Wurzel hybrid by I think the breeder was Reinhard Liske, and the person who raised it from seeds was a Mr. Wurzel. And yeah, that kind of hybrid has a smaller flower than, let's say, Pink Stripes, but similar colors. Looks very similar, but yeah, much smaller. Flower is much smaller. It's still a beautiful flower though. Still something that you could use for breeding if you pick the right father. And that was the attempt of the cross here, using a father with bigger flowers. That would be my way to improve this cross, this hybrid. I feel like the low flower size that has kind of stuck out with me in summer. So I just feel like improving the size, and maybe also at the same time doing something about the color, which could have been better. Was great. Hey, good morning. Welcome to everyone in the stream. I'm cleaning seeds a little bit here and there. And later we want to sow out have a lot of cactus seeds that we should grow on the channel. Yeah, and any questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, we're just moving on, doing the normal Cactus Day stuff. These are seeds that where we make crosses in summer, hybrid crosses. And yeah, there's a lot of potential. Every seedling can look different. Everyone can have a different kind of flower. So it makes sense to sow out. Also because it's much cheaper than when you are buying live plants. Buying live plants can be expensive. Paying like 30 to 50 bucks, and that's the cheaper ones. More expensive ones, they can really make a dent in the bank account. So growing them from seeds makes a lot of sense. And you get per cross, you get maybe 20, 30 different kind of seedlings. That gives you pretty good range to choose from, to pick the best ones from. And the fruit was pretty small too, this one. I don't think maybe 100 seeds, but that's the absolute most that I think was in this fruit. And that puts it kind of into relation when you see how few seeds you have in a fruit that you worked so hard for, where you spent all summer making crosses, and then you get the fruit and it's maybe 100 seeds. So it makes not a lot of sense to sell them. If you sell seeds, it's not the kind of seeds where you have a huge fruit, where it really pays the bills. This kind of stuff, it's more like it's sometimes better to just sow out the seeds that you have and grow out what you have there. And the really good ones, then you can propagate. And if you really do approach this as a business, then you can select from the stuff that you've grown from seeds. Gives you a pretty big range to pick from. And that can be a great approach financially, like in a commercial way. But yeah, I'm not really working like that. Hey, good morning. Yeah, it was another cold night, really ice cold night. Once again, -7. Hey, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I'm totally aware that you all have a lot of things going in your life, and if you find the time, just come by. If not, we'll always have a next kind of date, next streaming date. I really try to do this on a regular now. So either from indoors or outdoors in summer. Could be pretty great. So yeah, the seeds here, Wörlitz, Cantora Gelb. Hey, good morning, Dave. Classic cross. Wörlitz, Cantora Gelb is the cross that produced Pink Stripes. Classic hybrid by Reinhard Liske. One of the best hybrids ever made. And it was from this kind of cross. Yeah, but Reinhard repeated the cross later at another time. I think he did that cross at least two times, if not more often. So you get a pretty big range of hybrids from that cross. And also a lot of people have repeated the cross, Wörlitz Cantora. And yeah, I guess maybe 5% of the offspring is really, really amazing. So yeah. Thank you. Yeah, yesterday's videos that I uploaded are from a season where everything worked, and it was the 2022 season, and I had just filmed for years without uploading or with only limited uploading. So a lot of the videos that I'm posting now haven't been posted yet. And that year, everything went great. I had a lot of space in the greenhouses because the big greenhouse was just built. So everything worked great. Since then, I have a lot less space. All the plants have grown, like they have doubled in size in the last 2-3 years. So that was a great time. Every now and then when you go back and look at the old videos and photos that you did, you can see that certain years stand out. And in this case, 2022 was a great season for me to film. So the next videos, the next couple months, there will be many insanely good videos. I mean, you've probably seen the group video where I've filmed a few plants at once, and yeah, it will be similar. You know, a lot of these plants I also filmed separately. It will be pretty nice to see on the channel. I'm sure that this is the type of stuff that goes very well on YouTube, the reels in these kind of short videos, because I already filmed a lot at that time, just hoping that at some point I might have an audience to show them to. So yeah, I'm also happy to upload them right now. That's a great feeling when you have filmed something great and you can share it. You know, it's not like when you have a bad product, no matter what your job is. You know, if you have something that you're selling and you aren't convinced of it, you don't believe in the product, you know, then it's different. Like right now, when I upload this stuff, I know that it's great. You're not only creating seeds, we're also creating moments. That is, at least that's how I approach it. With these videos, they've been going viral for years. Every year again, when I post something from that time, people love it, you know. So you create these special moments that you can't bring back. But looking at the photos and all the material that I usually film is definitely worth it for me. Do you have some flowers still? I do not. Right now, the last plants that were flowering were Lubivia in the greenhouse and a few Hildewinterer hybrids, these hanging basket plants. These were flowering very late, but I haven't had flowers since maybe last couple months. At some point, the season is just over. They are already preparing for the next season. And yeah, I mean, I'm not the kind of plant guy that tries to grow many, like the temperatures where I live, they are just not high enough to grow the kind of tropical plant that I would love to grow. I love a lot of tropical plants that I would, you know, if I at some point can, for example, heat the greenhouse in a way where I could also grow tropical plants, that would be great. I would do that, and then I might have more flowers at other times. But the way I live here and work, it's really difficult to get everything to flower. So I'm not really, and I'm already full with the cactus stuff. I have greenhouses full of cacti. At some point, it's enough, you know. I just had a moment where I tried to find space for the few plants that I had forgotten to bring in, and I couldn't find space. It was just everything was full, and if I had more plants, then it would even be worse. So yeah, but I might get me a tropical greenhouse at some point if things are going great with the channel. Would also be great content, you know, great to film, because there are many. I can really imagine a lot of plants that I would grow in a tropical greenhouse. Stuff like trees, you know, like funky trees that I just enjoy. But the temperature here is just too cold. Next year, the flower season begins maybe around April, May. The cactus season already begins in March 15th, when I start watering, and I do that until summer, until the time when it's getting so hot that I can no longer do it. But my cactus season usually starts around March 15th, and I start watering right away. Then I'm pushing them for 2 months, and then maybe around June, end of May, the really big flower waves start. A lot of the videos and photos that I post are from in between May and August, maybe. That's the main flower season for me, and after that I get a lot of flowers until autumn. A lot of Lobivia that are flowering, a lot of Hildewintera that are just generally flowering longer, I guess. We'll see how everything goes with the channel. You could do a lot of good stuff like that, you know. I have space. I could always maybe do something like with tropical plants. I like that. Yeah, I mean, some plants are still flowering. It can happen. It's just not something like right now. I haven't seen any, but it can happen, especially with plants that are flowering more often, like Mexican cacti. They flower a lot easier, smaller flowers, so there isn't really so much energy involved. So they manage to flower a lot more, and in the right setting, I can see them flowering. It's not something that you usually see, and also something that you try to prevent even, because in winter, the fruit can kind of bring in the pathogen into the plant, because there's a connection between the fruit and the plant, and it can also bring in any kind of pathogen, fungal infection. And that's why I try not to have too many winter fruit, like fruit that is ripening over throughout the winter. It's something that just isn't, that has a lot of risks. Sometimes it can be worth it. There are incredible hybrids that were grown in winter fruits, but you always have to think about if you're willing to take the risk to lose that kind of plant. And it happens a lot. I've seen it happening in the last few years, at least a few times, where the infection came in through winter fruit. But again, in other genera, the fruit is ripening pretty fast. In my case, like with the bigger flowers and everything, they take 2 months to ripen. 8 weeks is a good time where these kind of fruit has to ripen, and during that time a lot can happen, and then it takes another 4 weeks maybe for everything to heal again, for like that connection between the plant and the fruit, for that connection to kind of harden up again. And when that happens during winter, that can be a problem. Okay, so the Wurlitz Cantora seeds are pretty clean now. We might even be able to sow some of them out, but we'll see. I'll put it aside. This is the kind of cross that I sometimes like to give away. We'll see. This is a good cross that can produce amazing results, but it's not 100%. It's not guaranteed, you know. With the flower was really small. It had great color, but the size was really lacking. So we'll see. Yeah, like I said, it is only risky if the time of the ripening of the fruit takes too long. In that case, it will probably be all right, you know. But make sure there's no fruit that is rotting on the plant. that is still attached to the plant over winter, for example. A lot of these tiny kind of fruits that they should sometimes be removed, otherwise you risk an infection. I've seen it happening in other genera too. I'm not sure what it was, if it was Ariocarpus or something like that, but it happens a lot. Okay, so Wörlitz, Cantora Gelb. And 2025. Okay. Later I will number them. I will like assign numbers to every cross. But not now. I still want to get them cleaned first. So much work to clean seeds. I really don't like it. I mean, on one hand, I had days when I was sitting on the computer and I was watching vintage videos like thrifting, people walking around in thrift stores. Or I was watching like vintage toy channels, like Toy Federation's a great channel that I used to watch. And I was packing seeds for the shop. And I loved that part of the job, that you can sit there and while you work, while you pack seeds or something like that, that you can watch something you like. I enjoyed that part of seeds, of cleaning cactus seeds or selling them. But that aside, it's a lot of hard work. Hard work, dirty work. You have to always make sure that there's no rotting fruit inside your house, because it can attract insects, pests. Really, yeah, it's a hard job. And when you do it with tiny fruits, like the kind of ones that only have 50 seeds or so, that is really, it's not a lot for the work that you have. At the point where I'm now, that I'm cleaning the seeds here, I'm scraping them off the paper towel. At this point, I already had to do all the pollination work to make the cross. Then wait until the seeds are ripe, 2 months. You constantly have to check on them so they aren't eaten by mice. And then you have a lot of seeds that are rotting at once, and you have to clean those to get it, like to keep it from becoming a problem. So and then they are dried on a piece of paper towel for another week maybe. So there are a lot of different steps involved. Most of the people who do that do it because they love the hobby and because they enjoy making hybrid crosses. It's not something that you can make a lot of money with, in my opinion. I mean, I see a lot of great breeders that are also earning money with their hybrid crosses, with whatever they do. But it is a tight competition, and there's a lot of work involved. Most people do it just to fund the hobby, in my opinion. I mean, they might not say that, and every now and then you also can have a great month, but a lot of it is about just being able to continue the hobby, continue doing the hobby. And it's a great feeling when you made a hybrid cross and you see people growing them, like growing it. It's a great feeling to wake up in the morning and see something flowering in another country, something you created. So that's why a lot of people do it. That's why I did it, pretty much. I've been running my shop like financially unwise with the free stuff that I've been throwing in. But yeah, I just believe you cannot. This is the kind of stuff that you cannot measure in money, like where you cannot weigh it up in money. People have really loved being able to get something from my shop, and that is the kind of stuff that that money can't buy, in a way. And I see a lot of plants today. When you, as a breeder, if you gift away a lot of stuff, if you gift away a lot of seeds, then of course people will be able to grow them more often. But it's, in my opinion, not really. If you count all the work that you have, it's probably not making sense financially. The only people for like where it's making sense financially, it's the type of like wholesale business, and good seeds or good kind of hybrid stuff is very rarely available wholesale, you know, like in bulk. You get that very rarely, and especially when it's the really good stuff. And I mean, it's also true in other areas, like in botanical species too. Good quality just costs money because it's all handmade. You see what kind of work is involved. So it's just natural that it's a little bit that it's kind of hard to scale it up, you know, like to scale it to a business that is steady. Hey mate, good day, guten Tag. Yeah, just talking a little bit about the seed business. I'm glad I'm no longer in it. I mean, I always love being in contact with my customers, but that is, you know, I'm in contact with everyone now too. So, but yeah, it's a difficult business that I'm glad that I can watch from the outside. That it's not really my daily struggle anymore. Something for the young and fearless. Okay, so what let me see what I have here, by the way. There's nothing written on it. Oh, okay. So these seeds here, they are from a hybrid by like the mother is by Uwe Kahle. Gröner, Shimu, Gröner, Shimu, and the rest I can't read, but I know what kind of a hybrid it is. Echinopsis franki was it. Yeah, and happy to take general questions if you want to just ask something. Happy to you know, to reply. If not, I'll clean a little bit more seeds, and then I want to start sowing out. I brought a little bit of soil again, and I don't want it. I don't want to give the fungus gnats time to contaminate it again. Yeah, and this is a great hybrid. Gröner Orange involved here, and Gröner Orange is a really nice Sörensia candicans hybrid. The flowers weren't huge, but it is very useful for breeding, and it is unclear what kind of a father was involved in those hybrids, but probably a Sörensia formosa or Sörensia bruchi, something like that. Have you been to many places in the world? I've traveled a lot when I was younger. I've seen quite a lot of the world. But the older I got, the less common it was. Also, for one, because it's expensive. Traveling is expensive, but also because I don't like flying anymore. But I went to a lot of different countries when I was younger, and it was important for me to kind of learn, you know. I really believe that traveling is the kind of stuff that you have to do to open your horizon, to just see that other people in other countries they are just like us. You know, you kind of get to know different cultures that you would otherwise just see from the television, and you would only be like, you know, that is the kind of stuff that leads to all kinds of hate, you know, the kind of stuff where you don't know a certain culture, and getting to know them, seeing them, how they live, it kind of opens your eyes a little bit, to what goes on in the world. And that's why I find it important. It definitely helped me, also to just, I don't know, grow up knowing that where I live, it isn't the world, you know, that there's all this different kind of, so many different places and cultures out there. It definitely allowed me to grow up a little bit, being a little bit more open-minded. Yeah, but today I'm not really enjoying to fly. I really dislike flying. I really don't like the idea to just to get into a plane and let someone, you know, where you have no control over your fate. I believe, being in control of my fate. Every time I drive a car, I know it's statistically a lot more unsafe to drive a car, but I do it myself. If I drive it unsafely, it's my own fault. And when you get into a plane, you kind of have to trust the pilot. And I don't know the pilot. I mean, they are, strict. They have a very strict kind of education. Takes a lot to be a pilot, but still, maybe the guy had a very bad day before. Maybe he just had, you know, he came home and there were all these, like, where the family left, you know, like the kind of stuff that just happens in life. It happens in lives of pilots too. So I hate the feeling to just sit down and let someone else fly me somewhere, and making the decision. And if the guy just, I don't know, if something happens, it is completely out of my control. That I really have a problem with that. And I know that, like, if you look at it, there's probably a word for it, you know, like a scientific word, like a syndrome or something. I know that this is something that is more a mental thing for me, but I still don't like flying. And I will, at some point, I will get back into a plane. I know that. So it's not that I say I will never fly again. I just avoided it for a while, but it might happen that at some point I decide, all right, it doesn't matter anymore. I want to go to this and that country and or at least spend the time there. That might very well happen. Like, right now, I have a lot of family left, you know, here. Family that, where I have to spend important time with them, because, you know, they are already a little bit older and are already not in great health. So I try to use the time wisely right now. But if at some point I see myself alone here, then everything might happen. I might say, okay, from within short time, I move to another country. I could very well see that I might eventually completely be unhappy and realize I should have stayed home. I mean, that might happen too, but I can see myself definitely just at some point walking away. I don't like the climate. I hate when it's cold, and it was so cold again tonight. Yeah, but right now, you know, I don't want to be in a situation where I have to fly back home every few months because something happens, because you know, I would be best at home helping the family, whatever. But it can happen at some point. I can see that. Okay. These need a lot of cleaning here, these seeds. But it's a great cross, and it's a very big fruit for that matter. I've harvested quite a few fruits on these Gröner hybrids, and this is the biggest one, I guess, that I've seen so far. Pretty big. Okay. Every now and then I also drop viable seeds that I should have left on here, but it's really difficult to clean seeds like without water. If you want to do it right, just put them under water in a sieve and wash everything through. But when you do it like me on paper, that kind of takes a long time and has a high rate of failure. You constantly gotta bring back the seeds that you already sorted out. When you're cleaning seeds in summer, it can also make sense to just clean longer. Do it for as long as necessary, as they are very clean. The more seeds you have, the more difficult it gets. On some days, like you harvest maybe 50 fruits at once, and when life gets in between, can be challenging to clean it right away. I have these moments where I should clean seeds and I haven't done it. Like I waited too long, and then it's a total mess because everything turns to sludge. A lot of fruit pulp. Okay, I think it's enough. I will continue to clean some more next time when I'm opening it up again. Okay. All right. KA 17165. And that is the year. KA 17. That is the year where the mother plant like was grown, or at least the year where it was from seeds, where the seed cross was done and harvested. And it's the 165th cross of the year 2017. Gröner, Chimu, Echinopsis franki, and that kind of hybrid has a really nice body. Interesting short spines. I like hybrids that don't have the classic Cantora body. So I try to make crosses with these. Okay. So let me see what we have here. Maybe we can sell something out. Here's another Gröner hybrid. I don't know. Orient. Well, it's Cantora. It's not really the stuff that really blows me away. Cantora. Lubivia winteriana. That is something that we can sow out. Arboricola. That is something okay that we can use. Dave is asking if I have an agreement with a garden center or shop to exchange cacti. I do not have that. In order to do something like that, you would have to do it at a totally different level that I am currently able to give from everything. Like it involves where I live. It involves all kinds of bureaucracy, having to do passports, just plant passports for every plant, that kind of stuff. And also I would have to use pesticides a lot more regularly. I sometimes use neem and similar products that aren't so really problematic, that don't have such a negative impact on insect life. But if I would want to sell them, I would have to do it on a totally different scale, giving them regular treatments, and it's just difficult. The moment you have a plant that has kind of scarring or corking at the base, like they often get something where they kind of scar a little bit at the base. It's very difficult to sell that kind of a quality without having the means to do it, without having the space to do it, without having like space and light are the most common problems. So yeah, and personally, it's also a lot of time that I would lose, that I'm currently spending on the channel. I thought about maybe doing a nursery at some point, but I'm already way past that point. I have seen what it takes to continuously, like, the kind of plants that I grow, they aren't really the plants that are sold in a DIY market or in a garden store. I'm growing a lot rarer plants, and it is hard to propagate them like excessively like they do. You would have to, of course, you can always say, we have 2-3 big plants, and we will split them up so we can get as many plants as possible to sell. But it's not easy, and again, space, the biggest issue. I have tiny greenhouses, maybe 10 square meters greenhouses, and at that point I can't even propagate the way I personally would want to. I hope that's a problem that I will be able to solve on the channel long term, like with at some point I'm sitting here doing advertising, like that kind of stuff, saying, what a great product that is. Like, what a great garden product that is. Something like that, that allows me to build a bigger greenhouse. But until then, it's still a little bit further down the road. Everything's still growing. Even now, I've been doing this so long I could retire, and it's still in the process of growing, because it takes so long to succeed, like to be seen and noticed. And I should have probably started being me a lot earlier, like going in front of the camera and doing that kind of stuff that I'm doing now. I should have probably done that 5, 6, 7 years ago. But you have to grow, it just, you grow as a creator, you start doing something. And I started posting just photos of cacti. Then I evolved to posting videos of flowers, sometimes photos, videos of flowers. I posted memes and all, and everything in between. And you kind of have to grow. You kind of have to know that in order to succeed today, you have to be a character. Character first and foremost. Like, I just watched a video yesterday about the future of YouTube, the future of videos, and I agreed with a lot that was said, that just you have to be someone that people, and like, do it like a TV show, like a TV show on YouTube, and people just start following a channel that they like, and you're kind of, I don't think you can do it without being a character that people remember, that people associate with the channel. So maybe if I had started doing what I do now, if I had done that earlier, maybe it would have grown faster. But maybe not, maybe I would have just failed, or maybe I would have done something that where felt like where I would be so unhappy with my performance, whatever, you know, when you're in a video, it's always work. And if I had done that maybe 5 years ago, the way I do it now, I wouldn't have been ready, I believe. Had to come a long way. Also with the English, being able to talk it the way I do it now, I don't think I was able to do it 5 years ago. It keeps evolving. The language keeps evolving. And I'm finally at the point where when I have a big audience, I'm able to just not completely fail, you know, to go online and just stay true to myself. We always have these moments when you're not sure what to say, what to do, that kind of stuff, like when I'm on a stream right now. But at some point, you know that by just being yourself authentically and without any exceptions, that can already be enough to succeed, because we see so much fakeness today. Channels where everything's AI generated, or videos that influencers that are not really authentic, you know, they are trying to paint a picture, but you never see how life is, in no matter what industry or niche, you know, they try to appear perfect, but not, life isn't perfect, you know, people aren't perfect. And that is also a chance, that is also an option to just shine with imperfections. I really believe that completely perfect, the kind of life that they are painting on social media these days, isn't really interesting, because I'm often fascinated by imperfections, by people just making mistakes and talking about them, people being able to kind of having the courage to not be perfect. You know, that's often interesting, people that are doing that. And yeah, so my approach recently in the last 2 years was to be more to be myself, without condition. And since I'm doing that, it's going a lot better. Everything's growing, and I'm very happy with it. You know. Dave has been writing about, you know, sorting out cactus, old cacti that are, due to whatever reasons, I should do it more oftenly. I should do it. You know, I just had a few plants on the compost, and I had such a good guilty conscience. It's something that I should do a lot more often. So, in my opinion, yes, it is the right way to sort out. But due to the fact that you kind of also evolve as a breeder, I often sorted out plants that I would love to have today. So it's always kind of, you know, sort out, but always a little bit more like, it is very interesting how often it happened that I sorted something out, and later I've seen the photos and thought, oh my God, what did you do? You know, that kind of stuff. So that is what I always have in mind when I'm sorting out. But you need to do it, otherwise there's no growth. Like Uwe Kahle, a breeder, friend of mine, I asked him specifically how often, in what percentage he sorts out, and he said it's like, I think it was more than half, or even more than that. So no matter what you are, in what industry you are a breeder, I think sorting out is important. And luckily with plants, we can just do that, you know. So yeah, lot more to the compost bin in the future, probably. That's what I have to do. I realized that, because when you have 100 plants or so, even if you could ship them, if you could sell them, it's a lot of work. And I see my future here doing channel kind of stuff. I would, like, plant industry kind of stuff's very hard. Having a nursery, so many are closing down or having trouble competing with the garden stores, with the larger chains. I wouldn't want to be in that industry, in that niche. So yeah, I would probably have to sort sort excess plants out, maybe give a few here and there away for propagation. I mean, I'm not sorting stuff out that should be propagated. But as a breeder, you also get a lot of plants that look the same, a lot of flowers that look the same. And if you already have 5, 6, 7 flowers that are similar, why keep an 8th? You know, it's just at some point the expectations grow too, and that is good. Maybe 20 years ago, I've had a lot of old school hybrids, old school plants, like the classic Gräser plants that are huge and have very nice flowers, but take forever to flower. And the quality since then has grown exponentially, skyrocketed. Today, what we have with pink stripes, a lot of interesting kind of hybrids today. Also, the Gräser hybrid kind of flower with the ruffles, but more colorful, like pink stripes, like what Andreas Shogadilla has been doing. And yeah, so every now and then I'm in a situation where an old school hybrid is still amazing, you know, but in general, if you look at it from a wider angle, the quality has grown so much in the last years. So you always have to kind of sort out and reevaluate the standards in the greenhouse, because every year there are new interesting kind of plants that you could fill the space with. And yeah, if you never sort out, there's never any real progress. Okay. So this is the last one, and then I will sow out a little bit. If you have any questions, happy to take them, like general kind of questions. I see we have a lot of people in the stream today. And I appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. We're growing cactus seeds, cleaning cactus seeds, just that kind of stuff. And this one here, let me see what this was. Arboricola, Sörensia arboricola. And it's a botanical one. I have one big mother plant of Sörensia arboricola. And this is from that plant. Only had one fruit. Only one fruit on the huge kind of arboricola. Plant had, once again, I think at least 20 flowers. But all the pollinations failed this year. Apart from the one that was also arboricola, pollinated with one of Miss Plant's arboricola and grandiflora hybrids. That one produced the fruit. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I also did a botanical arboricola cross last year, or this year. I mean, the year's still on. For the first time, I was able to cross 2 different Sörensia arboricola. I had seed grown a few that I got as a gift, and one of them flowered this year. They are still tiny. The plant is just so big, like roughly this size, and it already flowered. That is something that arboricola is just crazy for. The kind of flowering, excessive flowering that you see from them. Already flowering at a very young age. Okay. Sörensia arboricola. Cross with grandiflorus 25. Okay, so let's sow out a little bit. I brought me a little bit of soil here. for sowing out cactus seeds. Few more pots here, square pots, they are terrible. Few of them had holes, I'm not sure why. I first thought that maybe Kami had been eating the plastic pot, but the same spot is in the same, in all the different square pots, like in 6, 7, 8 of them. Yeah, and I would probably sow out something from the seeds that we just cleaned. I've sown out so many Uvokala hybrids that now it's time also to sow out a few of my own. Always important. I mean, you often give seeds away as a breeder, but you never know what will happen with them. And the square pot already broke just from moving it. I'm not sure why, but the quality of the square pots has been terrible in the last years. And it wasn't like that. They have been in, like, the condition wasn't always like that. I realize when I'm working with them, they're constantly breaking. They're constantly failing. Okay. 4, maybe one more. Okay. This is a cross that I want to sow out that I've just seen, so I will clean that and then we are sowing it out. This is a columnar cross with something, with a Loxanthocerois as father. That is a cool cross. Really interesting. Like, imagine columnar cactus, but with the flowers and with the unusual rib shape of Loxanthocerois. Really interesting kind of plant. I've showed a hybrid on the channel this summer, and it was from what was it? Andreas Wessner was the breeder, and a really nice Loxanthocerois, Loxantinopsis, a hybrid between Loxanthocerois and Echinopsis. Really good. Yeah, and I've shown that flower was a red flower, not so big, but opening up nicely. And I always wanted to cross that into a more columnar cactus, and here it worked. So that is really interesting and needs to be sown out right away. Also, because the viability might drop. I have no idea how the Loxanthocerois influences the viability. Sometimes seeds can lose viability very fast, and I really want to avoid that. So I will clean this a little, and then I want to sow it out here. I'm always rolling the cactus seeds around on the paper, and the plant debris, crushed stuff will stay back, and I can shove it off the piece of paper. Yeah, and it was an ice cold night. Later today, I will go into the greenhouses to make sure that the heaters are running reliably. One of the coldest nights this year. I have greenhouse heaters in every greenhouse right now. And when I came into the greenhouse yesterday, the door was frozen. I couldn't even open it up at first because it was so tight, frozen. Dangerous kind of weather for cacti. I have, like, the ones that I put out for to on the compost, they are like rock solid. The soil was frozen solid. So within the next maybe 2 months, I will be able to show you how frost damage looks just on the plants that are on the compost. You will be able to see it pretty well. I want to do a video about it. It happens every year that it suddenly gets cold, but this year the winter surprised me in a way. I was just not ready yet. It was such a tough year that I was just, I don't know, I saw the winter coming. I mean, I already saw autumn come and go. But it was a tough year. I don't know. I wasn't ready, prepared the way I usually am. I saw that suddenly everything was ice cold outdoors, and then I did my best to fast move the heater into the greenhouse. I'm really glad when the winter is over again. Okay, we're almost ready here. And I think we would split it up into 2 containers, sowing out two containers, and then we'll see what we do with the others. We're almost getting to the point where there's just clean seeds here. And again, the cross is columnar cactus kind of plant species, botanical hybrid, whatever, crossed with, what is it? Oh yeah, Luxanthocereus, Luxantinopsis. I'm not sure what kind of a Luxanthocereus species is involved there, but they are all interesting for hybrid breeding. It's just that not all of them take the winter the same way. I had a few that I wanted to use for breeding, and they didn't like the winter at all. They didn't make it. Okay. Okay, 1. You know what? We're splitting it up into 3. Don't want to have too many seedlings in every container. Okay. Let me see if I have more labels here. Okay. I recommend, if you want to sow out with us in the live stream, just get classic standard sowing soil. Everything else is just a little bit too risky. The soil that I have here is a little bit more organic. And I don't like it because it instantly had problems with fungus gnats. So I recommend just get a classic sowing soil, nothing fancy. Okay, always writing the year onto the label. So this is Luxantinopsis 25, okay, 25. Okay. And the last one. Could be a really interesting cross what we're raising here. We'll move it towards the oven to induce the germination, and then hopefully we will get some seedlings that I can show within the next couple of months. Would be awesome. And always happy to take general questions if you want to, like, I don't know, I'm open to all kinds of that stuff. If not, we're just sowing out, checking seedlings. the classic cactus kind of work that I'm doing. Winter is always the time when I'm sowing out. Gives me a little bit time to grow the seedlings before the next spring, maybe summer, where you can move them outdoors. Gives you a time advantage where you can just grow the plants indoors and don't have to wait half a year and then do it in spring or summer. The temperatures are higher in summer, so you have a little bit higher viability, higher germination rate, but overall you are losing half a season where you could just grow them indoors. And that also applies to other kind of stuff like chili. Seen a lot of people start sowing out in winter, professional breeders. So many different kind of plants around that you could start sowing out in winter. And yeah, I love doing that. Gives me a reason to just, I don't know, get out of bed in the morning during winter time. It's sometimes being a cactus breeder in winter, it is like you are forgetting that part of your life for half a year, like 6 months, and by that time you feel like you have forgotten that you were a cactus breeder, and then the next season begins, and it reminds you again right away. But usually in winter, it's like a different kind of life. It's like when you're someone who works all summer because of tourist kind of business, and when the winter begins, the season is over, and you just have to make it until the next year again. That is kind of how it is being a cactus breeder in winter. So growing from seeds kind of helps you to remind you that you are there for a reason, that you are not just slacking off, that you are just not being lazy, but that you that there's something that you have to do, and next year it continues. Right now I'm sowing out the Lobivia winteriana. I do a lot with that species. It's just so beautiful. It is incredibly beautiful, flowering all summer long, and often passes down great flowers. So I grow a lot of hybrid offspring of winteriana, Lobivia winteriana. I just posted a video, a short reel, where I had the plant in my hand, and it was so full of flower buds, you don't even see the plant. That kind of a plant is Lobivia winteriana, especially when you graft it. Doesn't look naturally, it kind of changes the look of the plant, but for breeding, it is of immense value when you have a plant that has 20 flowers at once. That's always an advantage. And yeah, I have at least 20 different Lobivia winteriana plus hybrids. Ironically, Lobivia winteriana doesn't really like the winter. I've lost some in winter. Cold temperatures, it really doesn't like that. Being a Peruvian species, that kind of enjoys humidity, but not so really cold temperatures. Yeah, kind of ironic to have picked that name, but the species was named after the sister of a German field botanist called Friedrich Ritter. Yeah, he just wanted to honor his sister who helped him a lot apparently, and he named it winteriana. Okay. Totally uncertain what to sow out here. I'm not sure. I have one more container. What's this? Wörlitz Cantora. Yeah, why not? Wörlitz Cantora. Wörlitz Cantora Gelb. I do a lot of that. I do a lot of these kinds of crosses with that plant, because I'm still trying to improve the quality of my mother plants. And Wörlitz cantora is always something that has potential. It's not something that I would use my whole greenhouse space for. But some of them are really outstanding, and it still pays off to grow them. Okay. Last one here. Okay, Wörlitz cantora, and the father was a multi-hybrid, Lubivia multi-hybrid. Okay, now I'm bagging this one up, and then maybe we're checking some of the other containers again. Once you are through, you actually have to start on the other side again. So yeah, a little bit of water, and then I will move that to the heat source, to the heater. I'm trying to get a temperature of 29, maybe 29, 30 degrees Celsius, something like that. And yeah, the others go go under the lamp. These have germinated. So let me just get a few more containers that we can check. Any questions, just write them in the chat, and I'm back in 1 minute. Give me a second and I'll just take these. Okay. All right, so let me see here. Seedlings looking all right. Healthy, nice color. Really no problem, not even fungus gnat. What kind of a cross is this? Uwe Kala hybrid. He really has super nice, you can see when seeds are very well cleaned. You can feel that in the germination rate, in the viability. So the seeds that I got from him are always top-notch viable. Oh, and they are starting to grow really nicely, like starting to have a lot of spines now already. It probably doesn't show in the way the stream works. But these are really growing fast. From a cross with Caesar. Caesar, also one of those classic Wörlitz cantora hybrids. There are so many now that I lost track of them. So what we will do is, what we on the channel will do, we will take something entirely different and combine it with that kind of a crazy kind of flower that you see on Bamboy, on Caesar or Pink Stripes. But we will do it in a way that other breeders haven't done yet. Like, we will just pick the rare species that haven't been used so widely. And I'm sure at some point we will have a very unique kind of hybrid. Yeah. Okay. Also, everything great, everything healthy. Not one problem, absolutely no fungus gnat. I love that. Nice. Okay. And more. Also growing perfectly. I mean, the soil that I've been using here, that is cemetery soil. So a very kind of blackish kind of soil that is hard to overgrow, hard to overgrow for weeds. So that makes it worth it. It's just great. It works great for sowing out too, apparently. So far, I'm very happy with our tests. They are doing much better than the tests that I did that were just in pumice, in washed pumice. Washed pumice was just too fast draining, and this isn't. Tiny seedlings just need a lot of humidity. And yeah, they're doing great. The ones that I've just checked, they are awesome. Really nice, healthy seedlings. I like that. Okay, a few more. These are a little bit smaller. Let me see. Yeah, okay, here's a fungus gnat. I'm not sure if you see it, but it just flew away. Not good. Very ungood. I don't like that. But apart from that, it's okay. I can never see any kind of like the small larvae that they have. That little kind of that looks like a transparent kind of worm. I can never see them here. I only see fungus gnat here and there taking off. Go away, man. You've done enough. Okay. That's why I try to work with the soil very fast. When you are sowing out, take it out of the bag, close up the bag again, and then sow everything out right away. Because they are so fast, they easily get into a little bit of soil that you left somewhere, forgetting about it for just a few hours can already be enough. Yeah, and these are looking great. These are Lobivia seedlings, Lobivia winteriana. One of them is reddish white, probably variegated. The others are looking great. I like that. Okay. Little trouble closing up, but now it's closed. Okay, yeah, and here also very nice. One or two have fallen over and need to be repositioned, and the same fungus gnat problem is also in these. I'm really looking forward getting the new soil. This one is just used up. I will move it outdoors to use it on plants, on large plants next year. Just for outdoor. Indoors, this kind of soil is contaminated now. Happens every now and then when you, in my opinion, when you buy a sowing soil, when you buy any kind of soil, it shouldn't have anything in it. It should just be the soil and whatever kind of additives are in there, but that's it. There shouldn't be any kind of fungus gnats, eggs in there, or slug eggs, snail eggs, any kind of stuff that is not good. Okay, so I'm just, in this one, I saw that a few seedlings fell over and need a little bit of help, just picking them up gently, being nice to them. They're so like fragile. But this doesn't look good. This is the kind of fungus gnat induced problems when you feel like the seedlings are losing contact to the soil. Then very often it is because the root has been eaten. but we'll see. I'll try to reposition it here. Okay. All right. Yeah, that was okay. I mean, fungus gnats, big problem. But apart from that, everything's going good. I'm sure we can get that under control somehow. I'm pretty optimistic, actually. So yeah, we'll do a little bit more stream and then I will probably move on. But yeah, I'll be here for at least another 10 minutes or so. Maybe I'm cleaning a little bit of seeds. And if you have any kind of questions, write them down. Happy to answer. Over here I have a paper towel that was supposed to have seeds, but there aren't any on it. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe Kami kind of came to them first. Okay, this is going to be a lot of work. Yeah, every year I clean about maybe 200, 300 cactus fruits, and it's so much work. I can only repeat it over and over again. It's not something that you will be busy doing it for hours, and you will do it because you love the hobby. That is the reason why you do it. Because it's nice to grow something that you kind of made, or you made across. But yeah, this will take a while here. This wasn't one of my best cleaning jobs, so we will have to do it a little bit longer here, unfortunately. I believe what happened was that the seeds were a little bit too small for the sieve that I was using. So I had to do a lot of work to get the seeds back onto the paper towel. And but it was done chaotically, like a child made it. Oh. After this one, I'm stopping. I really don't like this. This is the kind of job. It's like a half an hour kind of job. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Thank you guys for joining by. We have a lot of visitors from they just stumbled upon the channel. Thank you guys. We're just cleaning cactus seeds. Sörensia, Lupivia, that kind of stuff. Flower hybrids, whatever. And apparently it's a lot of work. I don't like that. Takes a lot of work to scrape the seeds off the paper towel after everything has dried. But it's a good kind of hybrid. So how did you get into cacti? I got them as a gift. So when I was in school, there was this girl that was in school with me, and looking back, she probably liked me, but I was too dense to understand that. So, and she was asking me what I want for my birthday, or what I want for Christmas. I don't know. It was something like that. And I just said a cactus. And I haven't had a cactus at the time. I was not really into cacti, it was not something that really made sense. it's one of these things that you just say like a reflex. And I got a cactus. I got one of these like Echinocactus grosoni, these kind of barrel cacti, and I had that for a good 10 years or so. You know, never realizing that there might have been like something like flirting, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, and that kind of got me into it. I got the second one that I had was something like a gymnocalicium, one of these smaller round cacti that are popping a lot. And yeah, and that kind of kickstarted it. I ended up moving towards the more columnar ones because they are, in my opinion, they are what I think about when I think of a cactus. I have these big kind of columnar cacti in mind, or what you have as a saguaro, like the American ones. That's the kind of stuff that I think about when I say cactus. And it kind of drew me into that direction because the flower size is so big. They have really big flowers, and I also had a lot of friends enjoying the hobby. I enjoyed. There are certain species that just look great when they are planted out, when they are full of flowers. Sometimes you come across these photos or videos that are just mesmerizing, you know, when you see them. But that is something that happened a lot later in my life. In the beginning, I wasn't able to I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't doing it well. I tried growing cacti in a like, you know, in conditions that just weren't great. So I had to make a lot of experiences and a lot of learning and getting back to the drawing board to figure something else out that works. I always had problem paying for the heating. I was, you know, like when I began growing cacti, I was very poor. So being able to afford the heating was something that I couldn't even guarantee in my own house. So I had to do a lot of stuff to be able to have them flowering here. Thank you. Thank you. Someone just wrote that they like the cactus flower photos. It took so long for me to being able to do it. Again, it's something that you either need to have a good climate for, and if you don't have the luck that you have that, you need to have a greenhouse, and that stuff costs money. So I had to. It took me a long time to just see something flowering here for me. I never thought that I would be at such a spot where I'm now, where people, you know, where I'm able to share all these flower videos and posts and time-lapse videos, you know. I would have never thought that this would be in the cards for me, that I would ever be here doing that. And I'm happy for that, you know. So, yeah, I'm just thankful now that I'm able to do it in such a way that I can do the hobby, because it's still pretty much a hobby, or let's call it a passion. In the first years, I always brought my plants into the cellar and brought them out again in next spring, you know. So I overwintered in the cellar, and that was difficult because the cellar that I had, there's a central heating that you cannot turn off, so it's generally a little bit too warm. If you want to overwinter indoors, it's good to do it in a cold cellar, not so warm. And every time I brought the plants out again in spring, they would get sunburn. All these kind of classic problems that you have when you move plants around, move them indoors in winter and move them out in spring. That was always a big problem for me, and flowering just wouldn't happen in such a situation. Sometimes it helps when you can leave the plant at a certain spot where it experiences all the seasons from, you know, from spring, beginning of spring, then then it gets warmer, you know, but even in spring you still have frost, kind of night frost that you get that reminds the plant to flower. That will just wake up the survival instincts, and that kind of helps with the flowering. It isn't everything, and plants will also flower if you don't kind of scare them in that way, but it makes things a little easier in my opinion. Someone just writing in the comments that they overwinter them in the cellar, and that can work. I mean, I know good breeders that overwinter in the cellar, but it takes a lot of experience, and it can't be too warm. The moment the overwintering in the cellar has this, like in my case, there's a heater that keeps the temperature at maybe 20 degrees Celsius, and that is already too warm to overwinter them in a way where they feel like they are going through winter. You know, the plant needs to kind of experience that it's going through winter, and that is not easy when you have a heater that you can't just turn off. If I would turn it off, the heat wouldn't work in the whole house, you know. So yeah, that's okay. That is the way to do it, actually. Maybe temperatures of 10 degrees Celsius in winter, that kind of stuff. You can even have it colder. In my greenhouse, it's 1 degree Celsius. That's just barely above freezing, and that kind of works. But yeah, I really like moving plants around in general is also a little bit of it affects the inner kind of clock that they have, the inner reminder about what season they are currently in, you know, that kind of stuff. So I personally never had a lot of flowers until I got the greenhouse. Greenhouse helped me a lot, and I only got the really good greenhouse in maybe 2017 or so. Took a while. Had to come a long way as a breeder. I'm doing this for so long, I could retire easily. Every year I consider retiring. One day I would do it. I would just say one day, okay, this was it, guys. Thank you for participating. I'm not sure when, but at some point it will happen. Where I live here, growing cacti here, it's a hard job. Got to take down trees and all that stuff. Not doing that forever. But it's fun, you know. I enjoy every season that I have. But every season that I have here has a price. Every year I get new tick bites from the just from being in the grassland all the time. And I've been really ill from tick bites. I've had pretty bad kind of Lyme disease stuff. So every year, where I decide I will do it again, I will go out again another year. It's also a year where kind of risk getting sick again. Hey, good night. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. I'm soon ending the stream soon. So I don't think the battery lasts longer than maybe 5 minutes or so. So we're coming to an end soon too. But yeah, I really loved that today. We had a lot of participants in the stream, a lot of people who watched, and I appreciate that. Thank you guys. It really always means a lot to me that people are getting up to watch it, or taking time out of their day to participate in our little cactus growing session here. So yeah, thank you. I love it. Channel is growing. I will be posting more flower videos today. Maybe 5, 6 if everything goes right. And yeah, tomorrow morning I'll be back in the stream. Thank you guys again. I always enjoy these kind of situations because you never know what will happen in the stream, what kind of questions are coming, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, So thank you. I'll be back tomorrow, maybe the same time, maybe 10 in the morning Berlin time. Yeah. And if you miss a stream, I'll always do another one. Thank you. Take care, guys. Have a nice day, wherever you are.